Welcome to Passionate World Talk Radio. Educate, enlighten, entertain. And today on Cool Our Heels, our special guest is Sara Wykoff, who is a professor over the University of St. Augustine in Texas. And she's also an occupational therapist. And she helps people, even during the pandemic, with their therapy. Now, Sara, could you please give a little background of yourself and then please discuss the difference between occupational therapy and physical therapy, which seems to always confuse people?
It absolutely does. Yeah. Okay. My background is I am a pediatric occupational therapist. I work with children with muscular and neurobehavioral issues. These are the kinds of kids who have situations where I have the privilege to get to know and work with families for a number of years on issues as we navigate the developmental step ladder that is childhood. And from that, I became very interested in cultural variation in child rearing. And so I went on and got a PhD in biocultural anthropology from the University of Washington. So I speak today from both those viewpoints as an OT and a anthropologist. The difference between PT and OT is that PTs have a rich, deep engagement with the kinesiology of the body, and they function at the level of joints and muscles and the physics of the mechanics of movement. Whereas occupational therapists then, working in tandem with the PTs, take that out into daily living and the occupations of people. So we too have an understanding of movement, but we work at a little bit higher level of what do you do with that movement? How do you interpret that movement and bring it into function in your life? So we look at the habits and the patterns and the engagement within people's meaningful lives. So we work very closely together. Oftentimes the PT might be working, for instance, with a stroke victim on getting that gait reestablished. And then we take that gait and we translate it. Okay, now as you're beginning to shift weight over onto your involved leg, can you then get into the kitchen? Can you get into the bathtub? Can you get your pants on again? How do you translate that back into regaining your life? So that's the difference.
So you're now doing your occupational therapy is a little bit offered differently from before during the epidemic. So how do you cross that bridge to help your patients?
We are doing a lot of telehealth, an enormous amount of telehealth right now. And it's fascinating because what we're gaining in the telehealth realm is a window and a peek into people's real actual home environments. A lot of times if we're clinic-based or hospital-based or school-based, we see our clients out of context with their regular lives. But when we're in telehealth, we see everything that's going on. We can have people walk us around and see what the bathroom looks like, see what the kitchen looks like, what's really going on for you. And it also puts more of an onus on the client to carry through with the activities we do, or the parent. And so we're finding we've shifted to doing a lot more teaching and training of techniques in a more explicit way. And I think it's taught both the OTs and the clients a lot. It's been a rich experience for us.
I would think so. I had occupational therapy several months ago. I managed to trip on the steps going down and smash into the concrete wall. So the lady came in and she actually showed me and worked with me. And then I continued doing it at home. but I videotaped what I was doing and sent it to her so she could correct me
Right.
if I wasn't following the letter of what she explained the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
And what we both learned was that it's fine to have a occupational therapist stand by your side and go through the therapy with you. It's another bailiwick then to actually get up and do those exercises and do it right. Because if you do it wrong, you're doing more harm to your system while the therapist is not there than the intended progress of getting better.
Right. Right. Exactly. That feedback loop, that continuous dialogue between the therapist and the client to modify and adjust the information we get from the clients is critical in us helping to refine and the information we can give back. It's that wonderful dialogue and collaboration that makes therapy actually functional.
So how do you handle it when you're working with younger patients? I would say anywhere from about 6 up to 10 or 11, because they don't really listen anyway.
There's a lot of what's called follow the lead of the client. Children in that age range, the 5 to 10 age range, are learning to really comply with a lot of instruction in their classrooms, and they're learning to follow the lead of an adult, in a lot of detailed explanations of how to do this, how to do that, and following and tracking their peers in what they're doing. And when we get into the clinic, a lot of times the children that I work with who maybe are a little more vulnerable, maybe have a little bit slower processing capacity, they've spent their whole time just playing catch up and trying to accommodate and do what the teacher or their peers are doing. And so we get into the clinic, and that's the time when we can, kind of track, who are you? What are you interested in playing with? And how can I help you develop your own internal organization to make things happen because you want them to happen? So when you take that approach and you're really honoring the child's interest and proclivities, they will teach you what they need. And then there's no problem with engagement. They want to be with you. They want to collaborate with you. And I sneak in all sorts of things into that I know they need, but it's within the context of something that's valuable to them.
So it's almost like you make it fun. You put it onto their level. Because yes. I know kids that I have a newly 7-year-old grandson.
Oh, yeah.
And when he's involved in things, the atomic bomb can be thrown into his backyard and explode, and I'll never notice it.
Right.
But if it's that other period where his mind is all over the place, or he's receiving new information that he's just having a little trouble either processing it, or he doesn't quite like what he hears, you get this pouting type of behavior where you can spend the next 12 hours trying to teach him something, and I'll go right over their head or outside of their ears, and they won't pick up on that.
There's a place where kids get stuck, for sure. And it's very individual, and both in terms of the temperament of that child, but also in terms of the amount of capacity we have at any one moment or the other. But yeah, when a child gets frustrated, they oftentimes, especially in this age that your grandson's in, this is the time that they're learning frustration tolerance and learning to stick with things that are uncomfortable. And oftentimes it's very hard for them to stay with that which makes them uncomfortable. And yeah, so what I find is that if I can downgrade a little bit in terms of my demands, or keep the dialogue and the conversation going, I often can like move over that hump. But I really, but it's a navigation that's quite difficult to navigate sometimes, especially when you're grandma and you're known as fun, and you're going over to see grandma because it's going to be a good time and she really loves you, and then all of a sudden she's asking you to do something. It's like, what? I don't know how to do this. I don't know. This is not. I've had experience with this before, and it's bad. The kids can put on the brakes in amazing ways. Their agency for controlling their environment is quite blunt.
Now, have you found that behavior also to be found in older citizens, older patients, say in their 80s and 90s?
Oh, yeah.
Where they're limited in their function, and also their brain has slowed down quite a bit. So they may also approach that hump that they have trouble getting over?
Absolutely. We all have our hump, right? No matter who we are. I hit my hump last night, and had my own little temper tantrum. So it's in all of us. But I think the more vulnerable we are, the quicker the frustration shows up. And oftentimes with as we age and we as we get I'm looking for the words here.
I think that as people age, they become more childlike again.
Well, we lose, as we lose some of the physical capacity that we had, as we lose some of the mental sharpness that we had, sometimes it's so distressing and emotionally distraught that we would rather not look at it. And I think that sometimes we withdraw from things rather than engage. And so I see a lot of situations where, don't bother. I don't want to bother you. No, it doesn't matter. I'm fine here. And I think it's a cover for don't make me vulnerable. Don't make me look at what's going on, or I really don't know how to process this in the moment. And unless you break it down into small little chunks, I'm not gonna. No.
I was just curious. My husband had Alzheimer's.
Yeah, my mom did too.
He was an avid person who jogged all the time, rode a bike all the time, and all that other stuff. And when the Alzheimer's really kicked in, as I say, he lost interest. So I found that in order to keep on motivating him, I found the safest way for him really to keep doing his occupational exercises along with his physical therapy exercises. He loved taking walks. And I know that when you're walking, you can do other things because he had much better balance than I ever had. So he was capable of doing things that I was not. And that's what I pointed out to them, saying to him, well, you may have dementia, kid, but you can walk a straight line, something I can't do. And you can lift your legs up high like you're marching, something that I can't do. I said, I'm in much better shape than you are physically, but you're more capable of doing this than I am. And that seemed to be something that made him feel better. And so he was able to carry out the exercises that were assigned to him. Because I thought that even though he was given occupational therapy for the now, better for him to keep it current in the present and future.
Yes, absolutely. You got it. You use it or lose it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that you found that workaround. You found that place where you helped him to maintain that pride in what he can do, and that's key. Just like with the kids, where I'm finding where are their interests. The same with all of us across the age span. Where are you good? Let's build on your skills.
And it makes a difference. Water volleyball, he loved it. So I would get him down there, and we would punch along a beach ball. And it really gave him that added momentum to maintain his arm strength, folks, especially that saggy thing problem that I have. And he running in a water waist deep is a lot more difficult than
The resistance is amazing, and yet the buoyancy, it's water aerobics and water activities there's some great studies showing how useful those are. And when you get the blood pumping and the oxygenation flowing, it's good for your brain as well as your body.
I hate to wrap this up, but we're running out of time. You'll need to go to class. So, Sarah, please tell everybody where they can find you, the University of St. Augustine, how they can get in contact with you should they want to talk further, all that interesting stuff.
Well, my email is rolling along here, sykoff@usa.edu. And I am currently teaching classes. Actually, our university has campuses in 5 different locations, and I'm out in the California location at this point, and in San Diego. And that's how you can contact me. So
awesome. Yeah. Great. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, and adults of all ages, you can find this video on youtube.com/PWR Network _PWR Talk Radio, on Facebook Live /Lillian _Caldwell, on LinkedIn.com/Lillian Caldwell, of course, Twitter.com/PWR Network _LLC, on https://passionateworldtalkradio.com. Right-hand side of the page, menu, Cougar Hills, click on it, and voila, you should see it. And it'll be appearing next month on amfm247.com. Go to that, amfm247.com /Lillian Caldwell, and you'll see the video. It's on their TV channel. Can't miss it. And before you go away and stray, Dr. Johnson had this to say in 1775, all knowledge is of itself of some value. There's nothing so minute or inconsiderable that I rather not know it than not. Thank you all very much for listening. And remember, stay healthy and wear those masks.
Thank you, Lillian.
You're very